So the new element Pyromania has dropped, and I guess you guys are wondering what is the best element in the game now, because you guys have probably been spinning elements since you're trying to get Pyromania. So if you guys want to know, be free to stick it to the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed this video, let's go to the video, guys. Alright, so in the worst to best element video, of course, we will be starting off with air. Now, air is by far the worst element in the game. It always has been, and it probably always will be. I think the whole premise of air is just kind of counterintuitive to what you want, especially in the RPG game mode, just because you don't really want to knock them away. You don't really want to do anything like that. You want to bring them to you. You want to be able to combo them. But air itself, it's not like it's like the absolute most terrible thing in the game to use ever. Like, it's still usable in a lot of different scenarios, and I would say that it's not like the worst abilities in the game, but it's definitely not even close to being the best element. Now, this was going to be pretty surprising, but Gale is actually going to be 13th place, and by surprising, I mean not surprising at all. Gale, I mean, like, the thing about Gale is that Gale isn't even that bad. I mean, like, Gale does borrow some of the other abilities from other things, but Gale itself is actually not that bad. They definitely need to remove the end lag on the 4th ability, but when it comes to Gale, I feel like there's much worse things in the game, especially air. Air is actually a lot worse, but the reason why Gale's gonna be so low, it just doesn't fit into the meta at all. I mean, it really has nothing going for it that you can't get from somewhere else, and in the end of things, it's a rare element, and if you can get something better from a common element, then there's some issues with the element itself. All right, so coming in 12th place is gonna be Liquid. Now, this was gonna be pretty simple, all things considered, because Liquid itself is not a good element. I mean, like, I'm sorry to the Liquid lovers out there, it's really not that great, but the reason why it's gonna be not last place is because it actually does have some use. Like, the 5th ability is a block break, you know, place lock stun. If you hit this on someone, it's a really good stun ability. That's mainly the reason why Liquid's going to be this high up, but it also does a decent amount of damage as well. So, you know, that's something to definitely consider when it comes to Liquid. Now, coming to 11th place is going to be Cement. Now, Cement for a long time was my favorite element in the game. Now, this is because Cement is actually a really fun element, all things considered. I mean, like, all of these different abilities of Cement, they're really fun to use, especially the actual good ability of Cement is actually that Dragon ability. It's a ragdoll 40k damage ability. It's actually really, really good. But other than that, Cement's pretty garbage. All things like it's worse than Stone. I think if it's worse than normal Stone, that's how you know something's bad. But the actual Dragon of Cement is actually quite good, hence why it's going to be this high up on the list. So coming in 10th place is going to be Chaos. Now, Chaos itself, I feel like Chaos, it's a super weird element. I mean, like, all of the abilities are super weird. I feel like it's not really that great as an element, and I feel like a lot of people agree with me. It was actually okay for a while, because the cooldown of that grenade throw ability was super low. But right now, Chaos is just, it's really bad besides the 5th ability. The 5th ability is an iframe that you can hold down. That's mainly the only good ability of Chaos, and actually Order. Order's a skin, by the way, if you don't know. And in the end of things, Chaos, it's super weird, but since it does actually have a useful ability, it's actually going to be ranked high on the list. Well, not higher than 10. I mean, higher than last place. Now, coming in 9th place is going to be Stone. Now, the reason for this is because it's literally just because of the first ability. I mean, not the first ability, the third ability. Third ability is a mid iframe. It's an auto dodge on an element that it's always been good, and the 4th ability is actually pretty good as well. I've actually been using it. I'm sure you guys have noticed in some of my videos, but other than that, Stone is pretty bad. I mean, like, the 6th ability is pretty annoying to fight in super big team fights, but Stone itself is kind of carried by the 3rd ability in RPG game mode. Hey, you. Yeah, you. Have you remembered to hit that like button on the video yet? If you haven't already, go ahead and do it. Now, coming in 8th place is going to be Shiver. Now, Shiver's going to be coming in 8th place just because Shiver, I mean, Shiver, while it actually does have, you know, almost the same exact abilities as Shock, they're actually worse in a lot of different ways. Now, I will explain that more when I actually get onto Shock, but Shiver, you know, it has the beam, it has the Shock Slam. Shock Slam's terrible. I would recommend never using it. And the Shock Slam is actually on the same build coordinate as the Chidori. Now, this was because they used to be like, it used to be a super meta thing to actually stack them, because you can stack the Chidori with other abilities. Like, look, you can do this, then stack, then stack. You could stack a lot of different abilities, but the main reason why Shiver's going to be this low is just because, like, the only useful ability of Shiver is kind of like the Shock, like the rain ability and the actual beam. And even then, the beam is a place lock stun, like self place lock, so if you miss it, it's like pretty terrible, and the damage is actually quite bad on this element as well. Now, coming to 7th place is actually gonna be Flame. Now, this one may be surprising to some people because Flame isn't that good. Well, the first ability, it's an 8-second 20k damage ability. It's pretty good. Second ability, I actually don't like it because it knocks them back, but some people do. Now, the main ability of Flame that is actually really, really good is this ability right here. So I'm gonna do an M1 combo, right? M1 combo, and then since Flame has no hand signs, you can actually combo combo into flame ability, and since it has no end lag too, you can actually combo afterwards. So it is a true combo extender, and the range on it actually is not that bad, so you actually could catch people far away. But yeah, flame itself is actually a pretty decent element just because of that combo extender ability. I feel like that combo extender ability is the reason why flame is this high up on the list. Now combustion is actually going to be coming in 6th place. Now the reason for this is because combustion literally has flame's ability. That's it. I mean, combustion first ability is flame, but it does more damage, so that's really about it. That's the reason why it's going to rank 1 higher than flame. It also does more damage than all of flame's abilities. It's just flame but more damage, which is actually a really cool thing. I actually like the fact that there's a flame with more damage. As you guys can see, this yeah, that's 650,000 damage with 2 people. So that's about 320,000 damage for a full rotation of abilities. That is pretty good, all things considered. The first ability is a really good combo extender, just like flame. Now coming to 5th place is going to be shock. Now this may be surprising to some people because shock was actually really good for a while there, but shock, nothing really has changed from it. You know, it still has the really good thunder rain ability. It does still damage stack and all that stuff. Thunder rain is actually the ability that's best from shock, but I actually really like the Senbon ability. I think the Senbon's quite good, but you know, when it comes to shock, I feel like the thunder rain ability does actually quite carry it, but for the other abilities, you know, you could get much worse. Like the other elements have much worse abilities than what shock has, which is pretty surprising all things considered, because you know, shock is like a common. Then coming to 4th place is going to be acid. Now acid is going to be coming to 4th simply because acid is literally a bloodline in an element. It is bubble but in an element. There's not really much else to say about it. The acid dragons actually do tons of damage as well. As you guys can see, those acid dragons just did like 140,000 damage. It's because there's 2 people, but the one person does like 80,000. Yeah, when it comes to acid, acid is a heavy damage dealing element, and the acid dragon ability is really good for burst combos, and burst combos are actually meta right now. Now coming to 3rd place is going to be yin. Now I'm not going to explain about this that much because I talk more about it when I actually introduce yang, which is 1 higher than this. But yin is literally just yang, but it doesn't have a stun attached to it. That's really about it when it comes to yin. I mean, yin does the same amount of damage. It does pretty much the same exact thing, but it doesn't have a stun attached. So yeah, first ability, look, big boom damage, boom, big damage right there. Now coming to 2nd place is actually going to be yang. Now this may be surprising to some people, but before you guys start going to the comments getting mad about this, just look at this damage. First ability, yeah, that's quite a bit of damage. So yang, this is actually undiscovered for a little amount of time, but yang does a lot of damage. Now I'm not talking about the 6th ability, because the 6th ability was nerfed. I actually think the 6th ability should actually be rebuffed, because this ability is terrible now. I would recommend never using this because it actually has end lag, so you can't combo with it at all. It needs buffed, but the actual other abilities of yang actually do tons of damage. It's one of the highest damage element. I'm pretty sure it's it is the highest damage element. I'm not actually 100% on that because the new element actually does quite a bit of damage as well, but it does do tons of damage, and right now damage is the meta, so it's going to be in 2nd place. By the way guys, what is your favorite element in Shindo Life? Tell me in the comments below. We'll actually be checking them out. Coming in 1st place is going to be the newest element, Pyromania, and I promise you when I say this, it's not because it's new. Pyromania is legitimately insane. Like I think the element is super broken. I mean, it's like 2 bloodlines mixed together. I'll show you what I mean here in a second, but Pyromania, amazing element. I'm not going to be involved when it comes to nerfing this, so don't blame me, because I actually love the element. But when it comes to Pyromania, you know, I'm gonna start off with the non-tie abilities. 2nd ability, it's a super high damage dealing ability. It's kind of like bubble, but it actually has a different effect, which is actually quite cool. Now the 5th ability is actually this giant ball slam ability. It actually does 30,000 damage, and it's a slight ragdoll. You know, it's okay. I'll show you guys the last ability here in a second. The 1st ability is quite good. It's like an Ember Hurricane, but it doesn't knock them back, and you actually have full control, and actually does burn damage. The 3rd ability is a dash attack. Actually, it doesn't knock them back at all, so you can't immediately combo extend after that. And then the 4th ability is actually, it's like Doku ability, but on an element. So, you know, that is okay. I mean, like, you can combo with other abilities, as I'll show you in a second. But the 6th ability is the one where it gets insane. First of all, this goes further than this, but I'm not going to go that far. The 6th ability does so much damage. Yeah, it does like 90,000 damage to a single person. That is a lot of damage to a single person. Now, I'm going to show you guys a quick combo with this. Now, let me separate them real quick, or they could just stay together. That's fine, I guess. But you could actually do a combo into the 4th ability And then you can immediately use the third ability on them. Oh, the third ability got canceled because he was in the way. But you can immediately use the third ability on them as well. And then you can, after the third ability, M1 combo into the first ability. And then after the first ability, you can do another combo into the sixth ability because the sixth ability is instantaneous. So yeah, this element's really insane. I'm sure you guys can see what I'm talking about. I don't need to, like, you know, hammer it into your heads like, oh my gosh, the most broken element of the game, because it is the most broken element of the game. And that's actually a good thing, because I'm glad to see people are actually using elements now. It's a great thing to see in this game. Anyway, guys, if you guys enjoyed this video, let's guys.